Sometimes the most painful thing in life isn't losing someone. It's realizing that one day, without even noticing, they simply stopped waiting for you. In a quiet neighborhood lived a successful businessman named David. From the outside, his life looked perfect. A beautiful house, a respected job, and a loving little family. But success often comes with a quiet price. David worked long hours, meetings stretched late into the night, and phone calls followed him everywhere, even at home. Slowly, without realizing it, he began missing the small moments that mattered most. Family dinners became rare. Most evenings, his wife and his 8-year-old daughter, Noor, sat at the dining table alone. But Noor had a small ritual. Every night before dinner, she carefully placed 3 chairs around the table. One for her mother, one for herself, and one for her father, even though he almost never came. Her mother would gently say, "Sweetheart, you don't have to put Daddy's chair every night." But Noor would shake her head and smile. "He might come today." So the chair stayed, night after night. Sometimes the food would grow cold before Noor finally started eating. Sometimes she would quietly glance at the door, hoping it would open. At first, she even ran to the door whenever she heard a car outside. But after many nights of waiting, she slowly stopped doing that. Weeks passed. David kept telling himself the same thing. "I'm doing this for them, for their future, for a better life." But while he was busy building tomorrow, today was quietly slipping away. One evening, after a long and exhausting meeting, David left the office earlier than usual. It was the first time in months he had gone home before sunset. For some reason, he suddenly felt a strong desire to see his family. Maybe tonight, he thought, we can finally eat together. When he opened the front door, the house felt calm and peaceful. He could smell dinner coming from the kitchen. David smiled slightly. Perfect timing, he thought. He walked toward the dining room, but when he looked at the table, something felt strange. There were only 2 chairs, one for his wife, one for Noor. The third chair was gone. David frowned, confused. Just then, Noor walked in holding her plate. She froze when she saw him standing there. "Papa?" Her voice carried surprise and a little uncertainty. David tried to smile. "Hey, Princess, I came home early today." Noor nodded slowly. "That's nice." David glanced again at the table and asked quietly, "Where's my chair?" Noor looked down at the floor. Her small fingers played nervously with the edge of the table. For a moment, she didn't answer. Then she said softly, "I stopped putting it." David felt something tighten in his chest. "Why?" he asked gently. Noor shrugged. "Because you were always busy." The words were simple, but they hit him harder than any insult ever could. His wife stood silently in the kitchen doorway, watching. David slowly pulled out one of the chairs and sat down. For the first time in months, he was at the dinner table. But the silence felt heavy. He looked at Noor. Her eyes were calm, not angry, not even sad, just used to it. And somehow that hurt even more, because it meant she had already learned something a child should never have to learn, that sometimes waiting is pointless. David looked at the empty space where his chair used to be, and suddenly every missed dinner rushed back to him. Every "I'll be home late," every promise of "next time," all the moments he believed he could make up later. But later had already passed. That night, David didn't touch his phone. He didn't check emails. He simply sat at the table and talked with his daughter. At first, the conversation was small. School stories, funny moments from her class, but slowly, laughter returned to the room, something that had been missing for a long time. Before going to bed, David quietly walked back into the dining room. The empty table was now silent, But this time, he pulled out a third chair and placed it back where it belonged. The next evening, David came home early again. When he walked into the dining room, 3 chairs were already waiting at the table. Noor looked up and smiled, and this time, she didn't have to hope, because he was already there. Sometimes love doesn't disappear loudly. Sometimes it fades quietly when we stop showing up. And sometimes the greatest success in life is simply being present for the people who are waiting for us. Because time with the people we love isn't something we can earn back later. Once it's gone, it's gone. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to appreciate the people waiting for you at home. And if you enjoy meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful life lessons every week.